Just before we delve into the webinar, I want to say that this webinar has been organized by the Weekly Fasting Group, which is a very big WhatsApp group of individuals from all over the world who practice fasting or abstinence from food for 24 hours every week. Some people do it completely, like in the form of dry fasting. Some people do it on water, juices, etc. It's really open-minded, and yeah, and we don't really have any agenda in the group. We have vegans, we have raw foodists, we have meat eaters. So the uniting factor is that everyone just wants to develop, wants to heal, wants to, to kind of explore this life and this universe. So in case you are watching this video later on and those ideas interest you, you will find my WhatsApp number. My name is Arik. I am the moderator of this group, and you're welcome to send me a message, a WhatsApp message with your name,
Oopsie.
and I will happily add you to the group. So, and today we have with us Noa Lakshmi. Welcome.
Hello. Hi, Arik and everyone.
Yeah, and last time we had you about 9 months ago. I just checked by the videos. So before we go to the guided meditation, we'll start with the short guided meditation. I just want to let the opportunity for people who are late to come, just maybe 2 more minutes or something like that. So what has changed in your life since then, since our last webinar? Tell us a little bit.
I don't remember when was the last webinar. You said 9 months.
About 9 months, yeah,
Yeah.
9 months ago.
Yes. What has changed, man? I don't know. Everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel just every day is so full, and it's not necessarily external changes, although that occurs as well, but there's just the changes in the inner world, and continue to evolve, continue to expand, and most importantly is just continuing this journey of love. And this webinar is yes, we're going to talk about the extended juice feasting and the art of fasting and regeneration and all the things, and answer all the questions, but really this is a journey of love. That's all it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Noah, so I think we can start with our short guided meditation, and then we will delve right into the webinar. So I'm muting myself right now, and over to you.
Okay, great. So we'll keep it very simple because I like simplicity. And wherever you finding yourself right now, close your eyes softly and gently. And bring your awareness to your body in this now moment. Now bring your awareness to your breath. Notice your breath moving in and out. Make each breath a little bit slower. Make each inhale a little bit more smooth and effortless. And pay attention to the exhalation as the air flows out through your nostrils. Just being in the space of stillness, space of silence. And within the still space, within this stillness, notice the movement of the breath. Notice the expansion of your chest. And see how much more you can relax into your being, into this stillness. Allow your heart to be filled with joy, and the gratitude of being alive. Knowing that each breath, each and every breath is actually giving you life. Just place your hands on your heart, one hand on top of the other, and feel your heart beating in your chest. Feel that heartbeat, the heartbeat of creation itself, beating in the center of your chest. What if you are the center of the universe? And it's the center of the universe that you are feeling beating right now. Emanating, radiating light and so much splendor. Become even more aware.
Eccola qua.
Become even more aware of this flow, this effortless flow of your breath. And on your next breath, your next inhalation, make it even longer, even deeper. As long as you can, as deep as you can, inhale. Expand your chest, expand your heart. Allow the inhalation to fill you from top to bottom. And then hold your breath for a few moments or as long as you can. Just suspend your breath and again, become still in this moment of suspension. And when you're ready, whenever you're ready, exhale slowly and gently through your nose, just through your mouth, whatever feels suitable for you. Give thanks, send love to yourself, to your body, to all of creation. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Noah. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. Very deep. Okay, Noah. So now it's your stage, now it's your creation, because other than the title of this presentation, I don't know much about what you will be talking about. So I just want to tell you that the best format from my experience for those webinars is that we talk for like 20-25 minutes, and then we have some questions, and then there is another stretch of talking, and then another group of questions. So, but other than that, I'm just listening like everyone else,
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I love that format. It works really well, and it keeps things in a nice flow. And I always appreciate questions. That helps me a lot. Although I have a certain idea of what I'm going to share today, the questions always make it more rich and interesting, and allows me to elaborate and go into places that I may have not thought about. So I'll start by saying that the inspiration for this webinar today has come from my current experience of the second round of a solid food vacation. So that will be the main bulk, I would say, of what I'll be sharing here today. And then some other things that I'm going to tie into it. But in case you don't know me or haven't really seen other webinars that I've done, I believe the first one I did was last year, and that was after I've completed 93 days of solid food vacation, aka juice feasting. I prefer to call it solid food vacation because it really is the most accurate term, I would say, if we want to use term. And those 93 days of drinking only juice, that was a complete game changer for me. And to give you a little bit of a background, again, if you don't know me and you've never heard me speak, I've been on this lifestyle, in this lifestyle, and on the I don't even know how to call it, but purification and regeneration train for a long time, many years. It's been a gradual progression for me in my life, with learning about food, learning what our body is designed or not designed to consume, and without giving you all the breakdown. But I transitioned into more living foods, and then the fruit eating back in 2009, 2010. And so the last decade has been a lot of experience with different things. And then and even before I knew anything about juice feasting or fasting, I had intuition about doing a 40-day juice feast back in 2013. Didn't know anything about any of this. And then in 2012, I did a 7-day water fast in silence. And again, I was guided to do that. And then in 2017, 2018, fasting came back into my life. And I was introduced to intermittent fasting and learning more about the benefits and why. I've been a regenerative detoxification specialist for several years now, and learning more about the process of purification, I prefer to call it, than detoxification, and the ability of the body to regenerate itself when we actually give it the right environment. Okay, so we'll talk about what is that exactly, the right environment. This is really what this is all about. It's not that fasting heals us or the juices heal us or the herbs heal us or the fruits. Those are just things to utilize so the body can do its job. It's the body that has the intelligence, and not just on a physical level. Okay, that's where we get into the more spiritual levels and the energy level of the process and what actually occurs when we go on an adventure like a salt vacation or fasting, if it's dry or water or whatnot. So there's a lot of factors. So as I said, going more into fasting when I started 2018 and experimenting with that, and going back or deeper into the fruits and knowing that is the food that really helps us to facilitate the level of healing and regeneration that I'm interested in. And the big game changers in the last couple of years for me have been when in 2020 when I completed 21-day water fast. And I want to just say a side note here that I'm going to mention numbers of days, like 21 days, 90, like, but I'm really not into the numbers per se, and I'll talk about that. But it helps the mind to get an idea. And also, I know for me as well, when I started, like, it's very inspiring to hear what is possible, but to not get caught up in, I got to complete a particular number of days and whatnot, because it's going to be different for every person. So I just wanted to say that as a side note, because the mind can kind of get a little too involved in the numbers and the days and such. But yes, 21 days water fast, and that was a huge game changer. And it was right after I completed that the reality of, I had heard about breatharianism before that, and I don't like that term, but I'm just using it for sake of simplicity. I had heard about it, but it was after I completed that particular fast that it came into my life. The whole reality of what I prefer to call pranic nourishment. And there have been several speakers on this webinars that have shared about that. So for me, it was just Muhin that came into my reality, and I just immediately saw my trajectory because it resonated with me. Everything made sense, just like when I came across the fruitarian lifestyle, like every cell in my body said, like, yes, it just resonated with me very deeply. So I saw my trajectory, and I freaked out a little bit, but that's what has been unfolding ever since then. The process, because it is a process. It's not like, 9 days you're going to do a process online and poof, your whole reality is going to change. Maybe for some people that has been the case, but for the majority of people, the process is more than just 9 days or 21 days and whatnot. Those are just things to initiate us into this reality. So I saw my trajectory. That was a huge game changer for me. And of course, on a physical level and mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And it was also after that particular fast that I was exposed to dry fasting, or non-consumption, if I like to call it. I really prefer that. And that resonated with me as well, more than even the water. And so ever since then, I've been experimenting with non-consumption whatsoever. And last year, when I received the message loud and clear to go on a solid food vacation and to do an extended one, which extended one, you can say like the minimum, or the number that is recommended to really get deep into cleaning the colon, is 90 days. It's definitely longer than that, but in 90 days, 3 months of a solid or consistent period of time in which you consume only juices and giving the digestive system a relative break, that's the golden number. And I said, okay, I'm going to do 90 days. I might do more, but 90 was what I had on my vision. And it was 93 days. And as I said, that was a huge game changer, even more than the water fasting to some degree, just because of what I saw coming out of my body. And that's why after that, I've become such a huge supporter of this journey, solid food vacation, in combination with non-consumption, absolutely. And then complementing the windows of juice and non-consumption with the food that actually support the healing and the regeneration of the body. Okay, so it's kind of like a combination. And then we add if that's something that you are aspire to, and know that this is on your path, is really moving in the direction of chronic nourishment. That we are all chronic beings, like regardless if you're eating or not. This is just who we are. It's just like the sun is always in the sky, and there's clouds that covering the sky. That doesn't take away from the light of the sun. The sun is still blazing, but we don't see it fully. So it's important to recognize that this is who we are, the divine being that we are. We have that ability. There is that divine design within us to be nourished by other sources than physical food. That's it. Just to know that it's on the table, it's in your divine design, it's in your divine code. And then there's a process to, you can say, realign with that divine design. So embarking on a solid food vacation, and an extended one, is definitely a step to get more in that direction, or to move in that direction of realigning to that divine design. So from last year until now, I've learned so much, because I threw myself into the whole, chronic nourishment, and because I know that this is something that is our potential. I know that this is my trajectory. I know that it's something that intuitively I've known my entire life. But I went a little bit too, not even that I went too far, but the way I operate, or the way I used to operate, is I see something and I get really passionate, and it could become extreme, or just kind of not really, not being gentle enough with myself and with the process. Okay, so that's why I'm such a proponent of self-love, and love being the guiding light of this journey, rather than the number of days, or forcing something that might be a bit premature. And there are many different factors, and each individual has their own structure work with. So I've been very much in, experimenting this past year, and having my own experience, going back from juice to eating again, and then seeing the places within me that still needed a lot of nurturing and healing when it comes to my relationship with food, my relationship with my body, and deepening my love for myself, reminding myself that that is the key. That is the key to maintain the kind of lifestyle that I know is the most beneficial for me and for many others, right? Because across the board, I work with people in my own life. One of the most common challenge that people have is, how do I maintain this? How do I maintain this lifestyle? How do I do an extended solid food vacation? Because I really want to, but then after day whatever it is, I give up, or I don't, I this and that, and I feel challenged. So what is the key? What is the glue that keeps it together? Hands down, after all these years of experimentation and learning and working with people, it's love. It's love. Is love, because when we align ourselves with that, and when I say love, it can be a very broad subject and a very broad word. It's the love for the self that you are, which includes, yes, this body, this physical vehicle that we are in. And when we align more and more to that vibration of love, which is the truth, when we are aligned with truth, then everything that is false is going to fall away naturally. That includes food choices, habits, whatnot, that or maybe you don't know, but on some level, it doesn't serve you. It doesn't promote life. It doesn't promote vitality. It doesn't promote vibrancy. It doesn't promote regeneration. And so that is the journey. That is the journey of increasing that love for yourself, for the self that you are, and recognizing that you are God. I'm just going to say it, and it's not from a religious place, but you are God in this physical vehicle, which is beyond just physical. But this being that you are is a manifestation of the creator, of the divine source, whatever you want to call it. That literally every cell in your body is a spark of light from the divine itself. And so when we are really rooted in that knowing, not just as a concept, but really knowing it and really feeling it, the love of God emanating in your body, that's going to be the motivation for you to serve this instrument. And so to really put the energy in places and in habits that promote more life and vitality and regeneration. And there's no end to it. So when you get a taste of how it feels, and I know in this group, pretty much everyone or majority of people have experienced, if it's a fast, if it's an extended solid food vacation and whatnot, and the way you feel on a physical level, mentally, spiritually, it's such a gift that when you love someone, you want to gift them, right? It's like it's such a joy to see somebody you love happy and healthy and joyful and fulfilled and all those things. And so it comes back to the question of, if I love myself fully, deeply, and completely, what would I choose? Yeah? And it's a journey for each and every one of us to come to that place. And I don't have the answers for you. And I'm speaking from only from my own personal experience. So coming back around, and then I'll open for some questions. This round of the solitude vacation, today is day 49. And I believe it's 49, and either 49 or 50, but I'm almost certain it's 49. Back in September, shortly before September equinox, which is the season change, and those are very significant points that we have during the year. We have 2 equinoxes and 2 solstices. So it was a few days before the equinox, and I got the message, I'm going on the juice train again, and I'm not putting any number. At first I said I'm going to go until December solstice, or until the end of 2022, basically, and finish the year on just the liquids or the juices. And I wanted to wait until the equinox, until the 23rd, but then I'm like, I'm not waiting until the 23rd. It was the 18th of September, and I said, I'm starting. That's it. And I don't know if it was a few weeks ago where I felt, you know what, I'm going to go 6 months. I'm going to go until March equinox of 2023. And then I kept feeling this this aspiration, or it's coming more from a place of curiosity more than anything else. Of, I want to see what happens if I go on a full year and just do full year of juices. Now, I don't have extreme health issues. You know, there are many people, or maybe not many, but people that had a lot of, there's something, somebody's unmuted. Arik, if you can take care of that, it's just a little distracting.
Yeah, I'm checking.
Yeah, I'm checking too.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Okay.
found, okay, thank you.
Yes.
So there are people that go on very extended solitude vacations, like a year, because of extreme or very chronic degenerative health condition. And that extended solitude vacation for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year was their ticket out, basically, or their ticket in back to life. Same thing with the dry fasting, you know, that in very, very chronic degenerative, or maybe not degenerative, but chronic conditions, it's like, okay, you go on 11 days because 2, 3, 4 days are not going to be enough, you know, and maybe it's like consecutive 2 or 3 dry fast, long, more extended periods are needed. So this is where, for me, it's important for me to convey the message that I'm not doing it because, I mean, of course, the regeneration of the body is part of it, but I don't have any major health issues that I'm looking to overcome. And I got to employ things like an extended solitude vacation. No. For me, at this point, it's life, it's lifestyle, and really is a sense of curiosity at this point. Because what I'm noticing, and this is what's really cool about having the reference point of last year, 93 days, and I was, and not to say that I'm not experiencing some purification and detox coming in and out, but it's a vastly different experience of what I had last year. My energy levels are much higher at this point. And once I crossed the 21 days this time, something shifted. I felt it. It was so tangible. I felt it emotionally, mentally, physically. Something shifted. And I have a lot more energy than I had last year. And even my weight It seems to be stable. And again, I don't follow numbers or weigh myself, but I'm noticing that it seems to be stable, which is a huge, not to say accomplishment, but it's a milestone of some sort. Because shedding weight, when people have that concern when it comes to fasting and the extended juice feasting, and especially if you're already starting from a relatively petite place, it's a concern. However, it's the breakdown of the body. The body cleans itself, and so releasing weight is part of the process. And when you see that the weight stabilizes on the exact same fruits or juices that you've been consuming that have brought the weight down, that the weight is now the same, the weight stabilizes on the exact same consumption, that shows that the body is now starting to regenerate itself more. It's much stronger. It doesn't require the shedding of weight because there's no reason for that. So seeing the differences between the extended solid purification from last year and this time, it's really inspiring. It's really fun to observe. Mentally, I'm in a different place. The cravings are different. And I'm just going to throw it now, and then I'll open it up for questions, and I'll go deeper into some of these topics. But the cravings are different. The energy level, as I said, and the sense of curiosity more than anything else. It's like I'm curious to see what a year of just juices is going to bring into my life. And as I said, it's more of a life for me when we move into the pranic nourishment. And I'm also noticing how, and that's something I experienced last year as well. When people ask me, how much juice do you drink? I don't really have quantities. Some days it's more, some days it's less. But I'm noticing how, compared to last year, I don't need as much juice. I just don't. I feel a lot more satiated with a lot less most days. And how some days there's still consumption that comes more from a mental place, or because it tastes good in the mouth, like melon juice is like my drug of choice. So, but in terms of the satiation, my body is a lot more satiated with a lot left, without dropping weight in any significant way. And I feel a lot stronger than I felt last year. So that's exciting for me, and that's why it's this excitement that I want to share, and really talk about the amazing journey, the miraculous journey that this is. And what I mean by that, this is, yes, the solid purification and everything that comes with it, what it really initiates us into, because it's the colon, it's that center, it's that hub that gets cleaned up. And my friends, everything is connected to that hub. On a physical level, every single organ, every single gland in your body is connected to your colon in some way, shape, or form. And that has implications and effects on your energy system and on your emotional body and your mental body. And so I've come to learn that that's the magic behind a solid purification. I mean, it's very simple. Because it's the colon that we get to flush and we get to clean and we get to, because of that, the whole body, every single organ, every single gland gets an opportunity to be filled with light and to regenerate itself and to actually start to function in the way that it was designed to function, not just on a physical level, but on a spiritual level. Because when we talk about the glands, about the endocrine system in particular, it's connected to your energy centers. So even on a spiritual level, energetically speaking, this time around, I'm discovering and reaching places and heights, which, I mean, and there's no room to compare. Every fast is different, every experience is different. But I'm sharing this just to say that I'm noticing such a difference, because I've done so much cleaning up until this point, and there's still cleaning that is being done, but I'm in a different place. And it's very encouraging. As I said, it's very inspiring to see what's possible.
Okay, Noah, so thank you very much. That's fascinating, really, really inspiring. And maybe we should open now our space for the questions. What do you think?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Shall we give the space first for the questions that are here live, and then we go to the ones that have been submitted?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good idea. Now,
Okay.
Ravi, who also posted his question in the chat, I think he's here. Are you here, Ravi? You are welcome to unmute yourself and ask your question directly. Yeah.
Hi, Noah. Good afternoon.
Hi, Ravi.
I was listening to your previous video that you gave to this our group sometime last November.
Yeah.
So my questions are based on those presentation. Let me read the questions all up, but then you can answer it. You were saying making peace with the food.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you mean by that. And second thing you said, whether you eat or not, what is important is consciousness. And the third question I have is how to improve metabolism of carbohydrate.
Yes. Okay. So the questions that I see are written here. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, great, Ravi. Thank you for your question. So how to make peace with food? So it really depends on the individual and the kind of history that you have with food. So what I meant, I'm going to give kind of like a few answers to this one question, but when coming from my place, or when I mentioned that on one of the webinars, making peace with food, when it comes to my journey, I have history of eating disorders for many years when I was in my late teens and even early 20s. And I never really had a balanced or healthy relationship with food. It's almost as if I've always seen food as the enemy. Now, knowing what I know now, looking back, that was the intuitive knowing that I've always had throughout my life. Not that food is the enemy, but there was a deeper knowing in me, a remembrance that we don't need to eat. That in a sense, food, I don't want to say it's the enemy, but that's what really brings about death. Like, that's it. So knowing, I knew that intuitively, but then I developed a very distorted relationship with food because of eating disorders and whatnot. And so in relation to the fasting and chronic nourishment, when you take somebody like me, and there are many women and men as well, but it's more prevalent, you can say, for women, when you take somebody like myself that has history with eating disorders and having a messed up relationship with food, and then you put them in fasting groups and all these beautiful concepts of chronic nourishment and whatnot, it can create or reactivate those old programs and patterns of distorted eating. And again, food is like the enemy. So for somebody with that background, with that history, it's actually, and again, this is my personal experience when I had that realization last year, that it's very lofty, you know, all the lofty ideas of chronic nourishment and living on just liquids. That's great and dandy, and I'm moving in that direction. But Noah, first, you gotta make peace with food. Make peace with yourself. Make peace with eating before you disregard it altogether. Because I kept seeing how the patterns just kept coming constantly, and I observe it in people, and people ask me to go, like, I do the yo-yo, I can fast, I can go on juices for 150 days, but then I'm like an animal out of the cage. Can't stop eating or eating junk, and it's like the yo-yo. So let's find balance first. Again, it's all about a matter of love. If there is some sort of a conflict inside, some sort of a distorted relationship with food or whatever it may be, and there's no peace, it's going to be a constant tug of war. And subconsciously or underneath the surface, it sabotages your aspiration, perhaps, because maybe you do genuinely, you want to fast for whatever reason, or you want to go on an extended juice feasting, and you keep encountering the same blocks because there's a tug of war, because there's a conflict. So the first step is to make peace. And it's from a place of peace and love that we can really enjoy the journey. This is meant to be joyful. This is meant to be a joyful experience. I'm not suffering being on 50 days of on juice. I'm in heaven. It's fun. And it has to be a joyful experience. I mean, yes, there's discomfort even when we fast, but joy has to lead the way. And it's challenging or difficult to have joy when there's no peace to back it. So that's what
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, ma'am.
That's what I meant. And how to make peace with food, that's really your own journey with it, you know, based on where you're coming from. And that actually goes hand in hand with the second question of whether you eat or not. What is important is your consciousness. Is what I said about love is what's important, and not to focus on the fasting and counting days and all of that. Those are all practical details to know. But what's going to support your journey with any fast, with any juice feasting experience is love. And then your choices are going to align with that love. Because getting too logical, too analytical, too in the mind about it all, or forcing something, as I said, that is premature, is going to traumatize the being to some degree. But when you come from a place of love, then the journey unfolds naturally and with more ease. So it's also to ask the question, why am I fasting? Why? I mean, if there are some serious health conditions going on, and fasting is really the ticket to greater health, that's different. But if that's not the case, then to ask, why am I fasting? What's behind it? That's really always an important question to ask ourselves with anything. Why am I doing it? Why am I investing my energy in this? And to really find the core why for yourself.
Thank you, Noa.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, any more questions? You're welcome to unmute yourself and ask.
One more thing, Eric. One more, Eric. No,
Yeah.
I want to ask you
Mhm.
how to improve the metabolism of carbohydrate. I think this also you said in your earlier presentation that the malfunctioning of the adrenal system, that is because of the excessive, the sweets that we eat, carbohydrate we eat, that gets fermented and forms fungus,
Right.
and the parasites and all that stuff. So how do I improve the metabolism of the carbohydrate in general?
Now, when you say carbohydrates, do you mean like complex sugars, like breads and potatoes and things like that? Or are you talking
Fruits, generally fruits.
fruits? Okay, yeah. Yes, I wouldn't really call fruits carbs. That's why I was confused, but that's pretty much it. And that's why it can be an ongoing process, and we got to be patient because sometimes it can take years. My adrenals are still not, in their highest function, and I know that, but I'm also noticing the difference because I know I'm still working with some fungus because of lower adrenals, which actually my adrenals are not that weak. It's my pituitary. So it's being patient and knowing that sometimes, depending on what the situation is, it may take years. It may take 3 or 4 extended solid food vacations and several dry fast periods. It's different for every person. But to be patient and to, more than anything else, to trust the process and surrender to the experience. That you just don't know how long it's going to be, and just remove that out of the equation. If you know that you want to regenerate, you know that your body has that capability, you trust your body, you trust God, and you just dedicate yourself to that. And energetically also, again, going back to loving your body and thanking your adrenals and thanking every single endocrine gland in your body for doing what it's doing. And that's how you improve day in and day out. You improve everything, not just the metabolism, not just the utilization of sugars in the body. Everything improves. Everything comes back to alignment, comes back to the original divine design. It's dedication, and persistence.
Persistence. Okay, gotcha. Thank you, ma'am.
I
Hey,
agree.
guys, any more questions?
Yes, I posted questions on the chat. Can I ask these questions?
Yeah, sure.
Not in the on the chat, but in the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go on.
So maybe it looks like technical questions, but in these webinars, I mean, it's very both. We get both inspiration and information because we can't get it anywhere else. So I want to thank you. Yes, very inspiring, and also based on your personal information, so I'm going to read from what I've written. What tips can you give from your own experience for cleaning the liver, kidneys, and blood vessels? Okay, maybe it's technical questions, that's the first question, but all the information and from your own experience. So maybe protocols or tips or.
Yes. Well, it's not so much protocols because every person is different. But what I support, what I promote, what I believe to be the way to vitality and health and back to our divine design is definitely the living foods, the fruits, the non-consumption, and using herbs when and if necessary. So that's been my way. That's what I've seen to work and be effective. going back to what I said earlier, is that, and the herbs don't heal, the fruits don't heal, the body heals itself, the body knows how to regenerate itself. And we have the responsibility of creating the environment for the body to do what it knows how to do. The body knows and remembers exactly what its divine design. And so we just need to give it the light to do so. And so that's why I call it fasting. Again, I call it non-consumption, is the best way to get out of the way. Hands down. Hands down. And the thing is the extended solitude vacation, if you're looking for tips and protocol, I would say that is the ticket, as I said at the beginning, to at least once in your life, not just you, Ravital, but I'm saying in general, at least once in a person's life, to do it 90 days. And this is where it's like, if you put things in perspective, and it might not be for everyone, it's okay. And it's a matter of timing as well. It might not be the timing right now. It might be next year. But out of your entire life, to dedicate 3 months to drinking just juice, not smoothies, not coffee. There's a difference between liquids and juices. When people say, oh, I'm just on liquids, and then I'm like, well, what do you consume? And it's like, oh, I put peanut butter in my smoothies, and I, chicken soup. And it's like, no, because there's liquids and then there's the juices, because with the juices, it's not only that we are cleaning the colon, but it's also cellular purification that happens with the juices.
It's a raw vegan lifestyle. I mean, aspiring towards being fruitarian. So yeah, I'm raw vegan, and I did the solid food vacation with you last year, if you remember.
Yes, so. I do remember. But what did you end up doing? 90 days, Ravital? Yeah.
Almost. At the end, it was difficult because I needed something solid, something to chew. But I almost might soups, and it takes. You have to be prepared for it, and also preparing the juices and all that. So you have to be prepared for that. So another question I wanted to ask, I'm keeping in between the fast, intermittent, I'm learning all the time, and I'm also I feel that the body's getting that the mind is getting used to these ideas, that the body's getting used to the ideas. So now I'm doing lemon protocol every morning, 250 milliliters, and then intermittent fasting, which means I finish eating early. So I have a small window of eating and a longer window of fasting that is intermittent. And every Friday I fast. I fasted from the day before till I fasted today, dry fasting 25 hours. So I'm doing it a bit different because tomorrow I'm doing things on Saturday, so I can't fast. So anyway, I understand that there's no quick fix, and there's no, it's a process and it's a journey. So, and of course it's getting better, but I want more tips. So I'm going to read the second question I've written is, what do you suggest to add to a raw vegetable salad as a dressing in order to make it satiating and you feel full and you don't have cravings? Yet you can stay raw vegan and not impose too much on the body. It won't be too heavy on the body. Like, what do you say about olive oil, tahini, pumpkin seed butter? Because I heard that pumpkin seed oil is good. And is that okay? Is that too heavy? I mean, you need the heaviness. Otherwise, you're hungry the whole time. So again, it sounds technical advice, but maybe it's the sometimes you need the little things in order to keep it all together.
Yeah. It's just slightly off topic, that question. I will answer it briefly. I want to say though, and it does tie into your question, Ravital, and it's a question that many people have for sure. This how to be stay. Why am I not satiated? What can I put, to feel more satiated? And yeah,
something heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to say, that it's not just food. Okay, the whole, if you look at pranic nourishment and how it relates to what we are talking about here today, that is very important for me to emphasize, that we can get caught up on just the food, because the way we nourish ourselves, the way we feel satiated, comes through other ways. And so of course there are many different factors, as we know, microorganisms that are in the body, parasites, fungus, that are asking to be fed, and we don't feel satiated because of that. There are different factors though. There are like emotional factors and other areas in life in which we might not be fulfilled, and so we try to get it through food. And of course, it's heavier foods that we are looking for to feel that sense of satiation. So it's very important to remember that life is not just food. It's not just the physical food, but other ways that we can nourish ourselves and fulfill something deeper than just what's in the tummy. And the way a lot of people live these days is so removed from nature, and that plays a huge factor. I'm also noticing, like, the amount that I'm exposing myself to nature this time. I've always been a nature lover, and outside as much as possible, and being with the sun, being with the elements, going to the ocean, being in bodies of water for me is just essential. If it's an ocean, a sea, a river, whatever it may be, and I'll make the effort because it fulfills me. And we are meant to be nourished by nature, not to just be closed most of the time and indoors and surrounded by all the EMF and the Wi-Fi's and the TVs and the phones and all these things, and driving around, and it's so unnatural. So we cannot just focus on the food only, because it's very interesting how if you take yourself into a different environment, that you are that much more immersed in nature, that you are surrounded by people also where, we nourish each other because we live in the way that we used to live, more tribal livings and sharing and enjoying life together, then all of a sudden you don't feel so hungry, or you can eat less and maybe not so dense food and feel okay. So how do you explain that? Because it's more than just the food.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share that because it's important. And then on something to look at, and not just, okay, what can I put on my salad? Yes, we can do that. And let me just ask myself also, just let me review my life, and what is it that perhaps can fulfill me more, that is going to replace, the heavy, denser food. Because that's something I recognized in my own journey as well, in times in which, oh yes, I'm using the heavier foods, even if it's on the healthy side, but 3 avocados, like it's too much of anything is not good, but it's because I felt something inside that is missing, right? Okay. So and yeah, if you want to talk about something more satiating on a practical level, then always choose the plant-based, like avocados are good, tahini, everything that you mentioned, but small quantities, because those are you asked about the liver, those are very taxing on the liver when eaten in large amount. No other animal in nature consumes fat in any large amount. Oils are a very concentrated form of fat that I do not support. I mean, if every once in a while you want to put some olive oil on your salad, no big deal. But if it's every day and a lot of oils in the body, it's gonna clog your blood. You asked about your blood vessels and liver. Fats clog the body.
So what can you eat instead of that? I mean,
No, so again, small amounts. That's it. So are you able to just consume it in small amounts when you have a salad? You know, I usually I tend to go towards the avocados as a form of fat, and then hemp seeds and tahini or sesame seeds. And then if you live in the tropics and you can have access to durian, which is a very fatty fruit, then that's hands down the best. But
yeah. Well, thank you Noa, very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, no, so maybe we will get deeper, as you said. You wanted to ask something? You just?
Yeah, we just.
Oh, just.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so please go on.
Thank you, Eric. Namaste, Noa.
Namaste.
So it was quite a peaceful experience to listen to you. I guess that energy is coming in your words. I was having an aha moment when you said the more we align to the truth, the more our choices change and it goes back to what is natural. So my question aligns to this thought process that if nature has designed in its complete form, let's say a fruit, then why do we use an unnatural way, that is juicing, extracting something, and then feeding or dosing our body out of that extraction? So all the animals in the nature, they do not consume the juices. Then why do we use that artificial ways to nourish ourselves? Besides this, the oxidation that is involved in the process of juicing, or let's say a person cannot eat, let's say 250 grams of spinach, but when it comes to juicing, even 500 grams of spinach would be juiced at a time. But it's actually a kind of extra dose of proteins or amino acids, whatever we say, that's going inside the body. Then wouldn't this create a problem? Isn't it again unnatural or going beyond, away from truth? This is the first question. And second question is, do you use some form of colonics or enemas to clean the colon, especially during a long juice fast, just to support the system? And the last question, I'm not reminding. Yeah, that's it. The two questions. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Let me answer those two, and then if you remember your other one. Excellent question. Just thank you so much. I definitely want to address that first question of yours because it's true. I agree. This is something I contemplate myself. This is not natural. I wouldn't be carrying a juicer with me if I was just wandering around in the wild. And even now, without wandering around in the wild, I travel with a juicer, or it's definitely extra steps, you can say, an extra effort to make the juice. And if I'm out and about, like, it's not like I can see a fruit and just eat it, then I gotta bring my juices. So absolutely right, 100%. And now, the oxidation, I just want to say about that. I do use a slow juicer, and that's what I recommend as well. Now the technology is so amazing, and some of the juicers that are out there are incredible. There's just almost zero oxidation, and it's not what it used to be, the quality of juicers. But to focus on what you brought up, which is true, the thing is the human race has gotten to such a degree of deterioration and the unnatural structure of the divine design that we, in a sense, must utilize some, you can say, unnatural method to help us to get back online. That's how I see it. I don't necessarily, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, juicing is a natural thing. No, I'm all about simplicity and truth. And when it comes to that, then we don't need anything. And if we do, we need very little. And that very little can be a little bit of fruits that you eat, and that's it. And you know what? Some people, that's their journey. They don't need to do the whole juicing thing. No, it's very, very easy and natural to just slip into non-consumption, majority, maybe drinking a little bit of juice and eating a little bit of fruits, and that's it. But for many people, including myself, that I've seen the immense benefits of juicing, and it's a step. It's a step in a certain direction. Not necessarily for everyone, but for many, it's a gift. And going back to what I said, that we have come to a place in which the state of the colon is so obstructed and obscured and distorted that we got to utilize some method. It's just like when you get into an accident and there's something really extreme that happens to the body, or the bone is out of its socket, and it's like, go to the ER and let them just at least put it back in order and then go on your way. But when you get to a place in a state that it's just so extreme that something else is needed, that perhaps is a little less natural, but it's putting you back on track, so you can align, as I said, to that natural state. And when I saw last year what comes out of my body, and that's what the juices help doing, they flush. They help to flush the bowel walls and to remove all that old fecal matter, and helping the colon to get back to its original shape. Because this is what most people don't really know or recognize, that when we are born, it's not a clean slate, my friend. You can be born with a very messed up colon and a very backed up lymphatic system, because that's exactly what you inherited. And every generation just gets more and more weak. So the juices are merely to help us. Is it necessary for every single person? Probably not. If you feel guided to do it, it's okay, just go for it and enjoy the benefits. And I personally, I drink fruit juice. I agree with you. We are not cows. We're not meant to even eat salads, you know? And if you do eat a salad, you got to chew it so much that it becomes liquid in your mouth. So the whole, like, to juice 5 pounds of spinach, I don't promote that, nor support that, nor recommend that. I follow what my body asks for. I do love the greens when it's parsley and cilantro, which are herbs, and I juice that. And sometimes what I do, actually, because we have a juicer in the mouth, and that's really what is recommended, that if you do eat solid food, that you chew it to the degree that it becomes liquid in your mouth. That the end result, what your body receives, what goes down through your esophagus into your stomach, is liquid. That you actually, your body, your mouth becomes the juicer. And so what I do sometimes, because also Ravital mentioned something about missing on the chewing, I'll take the stems of parsley and I'll just chew it and juice it in my mouth and then spit it out. And it's amazing. It's really delicious. It's great for the teeth. It gives me that, you know, the chewing effect that if I do feel like I miss it sometimes. And I'll do it with different herbs. I'll take basil, I'll take rosemary, and I'll just chew it and spit it out, get the oils or the essence or the juice out of it. And that's great. And then I really truly feel like that's what we would do in nature. We'll just chew something, get the juices out, and then spit the rest. Or chew so much that it becomes liquid. So that's question number one. And then about enemas and colonics, 100%. Yes. And actually the ancients, this is something that was mentioned even in Egyptian literature and in scriptures, and even depiction of the times in Egypt and even other civilizations, that they had the water thing hanging, and utilizing the water for internal cleansing. So I definitely support and recommend enemas and colonics, but again, it's not black and white. Every person has their own, you could say, protocol or rhythm with that. I'm doing much less enemas this time around. I've just received the guidance to not do as much as frequently. But I do recommend those in colonics as well. Yeah, and I do use, I didn't use it the first 20 something days on this solid food vacation, but I'm using GI Renew. That's Dr. Morse's GI formula to help the bowels. So I am using that now. But that's it. That's the only thing that I'm using on the herbs.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Noa.
You're welcome.
I quite resonate with your answer, especially to the first question. One last question, Eric, if we have time.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So especially during this detoxification phase, the body uses many channels to excrete out the waste, and skin being one of the excretory channel. And sometimes it comes up on the face, and another symptoms, that is reduction of weight, etc. So during that phase, when the people around us see us, they kind of show extra concern, or I would say sometimes resistance. So how do we manage the energy that is coming from outside, especially a kind of a rejection sometimes? It demotivates us through this journey. So how do we manage that energies?
Excellent question. And this is something I definitely wanted to touch on this one, because it's a big challenge for many people. Like you said, the external influences and what people say, and that there's just, I'm going to use the word ignorance, and not as a offensive word, but just ignorance is something that we don't know. I'm ignorant of some things. We all are ignorant of some things that we don't know until we know it. So in general, there's a lot of ignorance around the process of detoxification, and not really understanding that in the process, things may not look pretty. Like you said, things are going to come out through your skin, things are going to come out through many different holes in the body and whatnot, and it might not look good, feel good, smell good, and whatnot. So what do? Do you start lecturing about detoxification to every single person that comes and like, hey, you don't look so good? You pick your battle, so to speak, or you know intuitively in the moment what is or is not suitable in the conversation. And it's something I'm really passionate about, and how to really go about the external reflections and other people. And right now I'm visiting my family after not seeing them for 6 years. And I show up here a very different person on many different levels. And I'm only drinking juice. And of course, now they've stopped, but the first few weeks, it was a constant saying things, but also, asking questions out of curiosity. But a lot of it, and especially for my mom, is, you too skinny, you too this, aren't you? What about B12? What about this? What, all the things that people are conditioned to think and to believe and to ask you and project their fears. And again, from a place of ignorance, they don't know what they don't know. So the answer to that, and this is in general, to how to stay motivated, how to stay focused, how to stay in your lane, regardless of what other people are saying or accusing you of and whatnot, it's the same answer. What I said, the way I started this presentation is self-love, is to be dedicated to your own process, because the other people there's no others. Those are just internal voices being externalized by other people. And it's okay, like we all have doubts, right? So it's showing you just the level of doubts. But when they see you confident, strong on your path, they're going to stop asking questions at some point, or they're going to stop saying whatever they want to say. And also share, because that's what I've been doing with my family. I do share with them to the level in which I know they're able to receive. So I don't force feed anything. If they ask, I share. If they just come and say things that they just don't know, I do my best to explain. But if I see that it's going nowhere, I just end the conversation very politely, very gently, and I say, listen, let's just agree to disagree. Thank you for caring about me. I know you might see me as too skinny, you might see things, whatever. But a good analogy is when your house is being remodeled, you got to tear everything apart first before you put the new things. Before you're building a new kitchen, you can build a new kitchen on top of the old cabinets that are falling apart, and the paint is all is barely hanging. So you got to strip it all down to make it all shiny and nice again. It's the same process. That's the simplest way that you can explain it to people. If your car is being worked on, it's in the process of construction, things don't look good. It looks messy. So you can try that analogy, and if somebody is really open and able to receive that truth, they will, oh, okay, that makes some sense. They might not agree with you, but a switch might be turned on for them. Yeah, but the stronger you get within yourself, the less influence you'll have from other people. That's why my slogan, the big sign that I hold is sovereignty and self-love, because that's going to eliminate all those things that are just distractions on this path. And and those are challenges. I'm not saying it's not. And for some people, it can be very challenging, surrounded by a lot of family, by a lot of different, what seems to be opposing forces. But that's just a way for you to, number one, develop compassion. And number two, become more sovereign, stay in your lane.
Okay, so does it
It's
answer
really
your
beautiful.
question?
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
My heartfelt thanks.
Okay, no, actually, I just wanna finish few little questions from the chat, and then we can extend about some more subjects that you talked about. Is that okay? Then we are done with the chat, and that's a good feeling. So so there is a question here. how to make peace with food. Noa was emphasizing this a lot. Now we've already talked today. We already talked today about that, but maybe you could extend a little bit, or maybe delve a little bit deeper about this, making peace with your food.
Arik, I think on the chat, it's the same question. I think it was Ravi, no, that I've already answered.
No, I think it's from another. Let me see.
It was me, Eric. It was me. Yeah.
It was me. Okay. You
Thank
also
you,
asked
Noa.
about the matter of consciousness, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she answered all the questions.
Okay,
Yes,
okay. Then
questions.
then it was you, right? Okay. Let's see. So and then someone says, so then just the last question. So it's going to be late for India time to join the live session. Would love to be a part of it. So now she's asking, in your early days of this journey, what steps did you take to clean the system, intestines? Because that seems to be the key to success.
Yes, I remember seeing that question, and I believe that I touched on it, and that the person that asked that question is on point, because that is the key to success. I did share that earlier, that the colon, not even, not just the colon, but the GI tract is the hub. It's the central hub, and this is a more of an extensive webinar. That we actually might have a guest coming and really explaining and showing, and how we even see it in iridology. But I'll touch on it briefly, that everything stems from your gut tissue. In the embryo stage, when you are developing to become a human, in the between week 4 and 6, I believe, or 3 and 6, is when your gut tissue starts to form. And from the gut tissue, you can see the gut tissue is the trunk of the tree. And so from that trunk, all the other branches come out. So you start seeing in the embryo, from the gut tissue, you see the little sprouts coming of what will become your heart, what will become your liver, what will become your gallbladder, what will become your arm, your legs, everything from the gut tissue. It is mind-blowing, my friends. That's how you read iridology. That's how you read the eyes, because you've got the GI tract in the center, and all the other parts of the body stem from that center. So basically, from the moment that you started to develop, it's still hold true of what is going on in the body. Everything is connected to the colon, because everything came out of that. So when in the tree, if the trunk itself is not healthy, the tree is going to die eventually. It doesn't matter how much you try to take care of the branches. If you don't take care of the trunk, it's not going to help. So yes, that is the key. That's why I'm such a big advocate of a solitude vacation. Because once you clean that hub, everything else becomes cleaner and starts to regenerate on such a high level. And that's why fasting is exactly the same, because I mean, that's even of a higher form of regeneration. Because even with the juices, there's still some energy that goes into digestion. It's very, very minor, but I answer that question even with Ujas, is that the amount of obstruction that people have in their colon, that the juices help to flush it out, that fasting won't do. That an extended fast, I would advise to do that after at least one extended solid food vacation, after removing some of that junk from the colon, because it's toxic matter. It seeps into your blood, it seeps into your brain, it feeds parasites, it feeds funguses. And when you have that realization, when you have that awakening, when you see that and recognize that, in conjunction with acknowledging just this is the divine vehicle of God, then I'm going to clean it and I'm going to do the best I can. But it's an eye-opening experience when you realize that, whoa, everything stems from that gut tissue. And it still holds truth.
Okay.
Yeah, so in my early days, I didn't know that, but I started moving in that direction. Because intuitively, we know things, even when we don't know the actual information, but then we are exposed to the information and the dots start to connect, like, oh, and then we have our journey to walk and integrate everything and embody that wisdom through our own experience, and then becoming one with it.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, now, so let's delve a little bit into a few points that you mentioned earlier, because you told me that after the question, you told us that after the questions, we are going to delve a little bit deeper into those subjects. So
yeah, and I feel also, Arik, that through the questions, through my answers, I actually went into some things that I wanted to touch on anyway. That's why I love questions, because it's like we're all one. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, so just feel free, just if you want to share anything else, or you have also told me that you would be that you'll be organizing some kind of a program or a retreat, so we can also talk about that. So just feel free to direct this conversation the way you want, you know.
Sure. I just want to see if there are any other questions. Did you have something?
Yeah, so I have one more question again.
Yeah.
So, Noah, you mentioned about wisdom and ignorance. So everything begins with knowledge, right? Even the detoxification process initiated when we are aware about it, what this all about. So knowledge being the first light or the guiding principle. So when we talk about this whole life is an interplay of soul and body. And when we are into this process, our kind of focus or concentration is totally into the matter by elements or the body detoxification or the body cleaning, which is again influencing the soul, of course, soul being a part, which is influencing me. But will this bodily detoxification lead to the detoxification of the subconscious or at the soul level, which is also being toxified by so many various belief systems, etc., and ignorance, of course, and the wrong knowledge? Or is it the one pillar, this food or detoxification process or solid food vacation, is just a single pillar, and there are many other pillars still pending on the queue to clean the soul at a deeper level? Or sometimes too much focus on this bodily matters takes us away from the main process of cleaning the subconscious or the soul.
Wow, you've got deep and profound questions, Vijay. Thank you. So I would say that number one, that every individual, every soul has an individual unique journey. And to honor that I'm not going to give you the answers for your journey, because it's your journey, and to honor that and respect that. I can only speak from my experience and my perspective, and my journey. It's very true, and this is something that I have seen because I've been around the block for so many years and being part of so many groups of, if that's the fruitarian or the detoxification world and whatnot, and even the fasting, that it can get obsessive, or it can get, like you said, too focused in that direction. And that's not something that resonate with me. And it's okay. I've gone through that as well, to come back to a place of, oh, I've gone too far, right? So for me in life, it's really about balance and anything that is too much, no matter what it is. That's why the most important thing for me to convey is love. Like, that is the message. Like, focus on that and allow the pieces to come into play, to come into that alignment, like I said. Now, because everything is connected, I don't see the separation anymore. Like, oh, there's a body, and then there's the mental. Yes, we have different bodies. We've got the mental body, the emotional body, the astral body. We've got the physical body. There are many layers. Like, it's very, very complex. Like, the creator has done such a complex masterpiece, because even nature, I mean, you look at all the different layers and all the different shapes, and it's like, it's endless, it's infinite. However, it's very simple. And that's how I like to approach things. And that's how I like to approach our existence as well. And even that can start being such a mental ride and way too complex. Like, oh, and the subconscious, and this and this and this, and it becomes too much. And then people start chasing that as well. It's like, no, just be. Really, it's that simple. Just be. It's really simple. And in this process of purification on a physical level, like, automatically it's going to infiltrate and influence and purify all the other bodies, including the subconscious. Even on a soul level, because I see this body as a vehicle to the soul. And for me, the process of purification is really to also bring us to a place of unification, that the soul actually lands in this body, not to become obsessed with the body or obsessed with the process of cleaning it, but if anything, is becoming obsessed with loving all of who you are, including the body. Not more than anything else, but it's all one package. And the soul, your soul, chose this body, chose this costume that you're wearing now for a reason. So why is that less holy? Again, not to get obsessed with it, but to cherish it as the divine vehicle, the divine instrument that your soul, as the extension of God, chose to come into this life with. And you didn't come here into my body or Arik's body, or that you've got a particular suit for a reason. And that's part of the love, of really loving that suit for what it is and wanting only the best for it. Because it's really love that purifies all of this. Whatever you want to call it, karma, the past lives, the subconscious. That's why it's very simple. The ego and the mind, the intellectual mind, can have a very, very hard time with accepting that. It can be that simple. It is that simple. Love, because that's who we are. That's our truth, right? So as I said, we align to that truth and everything else falls away naturally. There's a mantra in Kundalini Yoga, Sat Nam, truth is my identity. And that's exactly what it means. I identify with only the truth of who I am, and then everything else will fall away. And that's what I've been experiencing, especially in the past year. Instead of focusing on, well, how many days am I going to fast, and how many days, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, no. I'm not even, no. I am going to love this one. And then the fast will just come, and intuitively I'll know how many days, what to do. And keeping it simple, keeping it joyful, because that's another thing that if you can really help to purify is joy, which to me it goes hand in hand with love.
Amazing. Okay, now Jerry King posted a question. Now, Jerry, would you like to unmute yourself and ask directly?
No, I can see in the chat. What is your
Okay.
what is your answer to not getting enough fiber during this flush? I mean, you probably mean the solidification. So I don't really focus on that. I don't necessarily believe in what is out there, that we need this and we need that and we need this and we need that and we need all that fiber. That's all I can say, that I don't believe in that anymore. And so yeah, that's my answer. That just to ask yourself, like, why do you believe that we need all that fiber? Because even if we were to eat, we don't really need to eat that much, and you can say that's not enough fiber. So again, that's my answer these days. I really don't believe any of these things, and yeah.
Okay, good answer. Yeah. Okay, Noah, so in which direction would you like to go now?
Yeah, I can share about, you mentioned that, what I'll be hosting. Yeah, the immersion, 8-week immersion that will be starting next Friday on 11/11/22, which is also one day before my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. So 8 weeks, 2 week will be preparation, not just physically, but mainly mentally. And some of the things that I shared here today, there's the self-love and how to really come to a place in which the energy is going to support the journey more than the intellectual or all the details. Thank you, Robbie. So 2 weeks we'll dedicate for preparation, and then we'll embark on a 30-day solidification, which we'll be doing as a group. I mean, I'll be on my day, like whatever, but it doesn't matter. But it will be 30 days will be dedicated to the solidification, and then 2 weeks transitioning out of the 30 days. And of course, there's always the option on the table to do a solidification for the entire 8 weeks, if that is something that you feel you ready, and you'll have the support of me and the group. We'll be meeting every week, and we'll have our own Telegram group as well. And also we'll be practicing non-consumption days as well, and start putting that into effect, or more of a consistent basis. If it's the daily, the weekly, which you do in this group anyway, and then the monthly, according to the cycles of the moon, new moon and full moon. And we'll be diving a little bit deeper into those aspects as well, of the new moon and the full moon, and the significance of non-consumption or juicing during those times. And the 8 weeks, I designed it in a way that it's going to usher us all the way until the end of 2022, basically finishing the year nice and strong, nice and light. And on the solstice, on the 21st of December, there will be an invitation to embark on a non-consumption window of 3 days, and then coming out of it and integrating the experience and the process.
Wow, sounds so good. So now, when someone is doing this kind of a program, how can they get support, or rather, what kind of a structure will you have? So you mentioned weekly meetings, weekly Zoom meetings or something like that. So where probably they will be able to ask questions and to share
Yes.
difficulties or success stories or whatever. But I mean, on a daily basis, for example, if a person is in trouble, they really have strong craving or whatever. So
we'll have a Telegram group for ongoing support. Yes, and like you said, every week we'll have a Zoom meeting. There'll also be guest facilitators, because for me it's always very holistic. So it's not like we're going to just talk about the juices and the food and the fasting, but there will be different practices to support the process. Different yoga practices, Kundalini Yoga, and other forms of movement also, and meditation, breathing, pranayama. Those are all energy cultivation practices. And as I said, the main pillar will be self-love, really how to strengthen those self-love muscles. So those choices that you make are going to stay with you. And what I mentioned earlier also is strengthening your own inner conviction and dedication and sovereignty. So that's going to help navigate external distractions and people and family, and how to navigate through that, because most people are not just monks sitting in a cave. So, the people in society and whatnot, because I truly believe that we must be the change we wish to see. And that's what motivates me as well, is let other people see what is possible. And then slowly but surely, we will see big changes. But we got to stay in our truth and in our light, even though it can be challenging sometimes. And so just having the support and having like-minded people helps us to stay strong and stay uplifted.
Okay. Now, and do you think people who are going to participate in this program, are they going to gain or to get enough tools so that if they in the future, if they want to repeat this same solid food vacation by themselves, they will be able to do that?
Absolutely. Yes, that's always my intention, and what I like to offer is the ability to just go and do it on your own. And that's why my focus is on the foundation, because what's going to help an individual to do another solid food vacation and potentially even longer is self-love. It's not going to be a struggle. It's just going to be like, of course I'm going to go on a solid food vacation. Why not? Because it's amazing. Or whatever else it is that is moving you in the direction of more regeneration, more vitality, more radiance, and ultimately freedom, because that's the focus also, is free yourself from the cravings, from the addictions, from whatever patterns that are sabotaging your health, your success, your relationship, your flourishing in life. So that's always my intention, is to focus on that foundation, and then you can do it on your own because you have those tools.
Amazing. And tell me now, so will the people who are doing this program be able to continue with their daily lives? Like, because recently, for example, we had some conversations in the group where people just say that they have to cook for their families. Let's say if it's a housewife or just working. Some people work physical jobs, some people work mental jobs. So will they be able to proceed with their regular life, basically?
This depends on the individual. I know many people that work full-time or cook for their kids and whatnot, and they do a solid food vacation for 100 and something days or whatever. So it really depends on the individual to say if it's possible. Of course it's possible, but then I can't say for that particular individual because it depends on the person. It really all is about readiness and mental attitude. If there's readiness there and a genuine sense of I'm ready, willing, and able, and I'm dedicating myself to this, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've seen it, although it's not my experience because I don't work in an office. It's just a different life.
Yeah.
But I've seen it. It's doable. So basically it's doable, and it depends on the level of readiness and willingness
Interesting. Maybe some of the people from the audience have specific questions regarding this program. So guys, do you have any more questions regarding this guided solid food vacation? So no, so basically no, there is something in the chat. So could you address that?
Yes, I'm reading from Ujaz. One question
Yeah.
around self-love. When we say I love myself, but how to do that? I love myself. Are there I and another myself different? Like can an I see itself? So how can love? Isn't it a vague effort to love myself? Love being, or I am love? Isn't that self-love keeping me away to realize I am love? Like I always feel I'm still not loving myself. Yes, it's basically what you're saying, Ujaz, has truth in it. You are love. It's coming back to truth of who you are. And it's important that you find what works for you. If it doesn't work for you to say I love myself, if it creates some sort of a conflict, then use whatever works for you. It doesn't matter. It's because ultimately it's a feeling. It's not the words that you use. It's feeling. It's a feeling of when you look at yourself in the mirror, and then also outside of physical looking at anything, it's just a feeling. And it can be vague, because there's a lot of self-love teachers out there, and love and self-love can be a vague definition or a vague concept. But the way I approach it is that it's actually loving God, because that's who you are. Not from any religious place, but that's my understanding of this fabric of reality. We are God, every single one of us. Meaning that this that is you is an extension of that one source. That's what it means that we are all one, because we come from the same source, which is love. So to love the self is basically just loving God, recognizing that that's exactly what inhibits the being. So it's not the loving myself on this, like, you can say shallow place or superficial place, but it's from a deeper place of really recognizing, wow, recognizing who you truly are. And that's the journey of coming back home to yourself, which is love. And like I mentioned earlier, the body is part of it. That's the temple. That's the temple that you're inhabiting here in this reality that God has chosen, that God is playing in this form of you. So those are all things that for sure we're going to, break down and touch on during the immersion, because it's not just, one webinar. I mean, I can plant a seed, I can speak so much, but it's really about it's a feeling, and it's the embodiment. It's the embodiment of that God's light.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Noah, so it's been about 2 hours of the webinar. So just please let us know. So if people want to contact you for more questions, inquiries about about your program, immersion program, so how can they do that?
They can contact me on the WhatsApp if you're part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're watching this video on a different platform, because it's going to be posted on my YouTube as well, there's going to be the link to the immersion down below. And Arik, maybe you can post it in the YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Of this group as well. And yeah, and you can always email me as well, Noa@noalakshmi.com. I can post it in the chat if you'd like as well right now.
We will we'll put all the contact details below this video once it's uploaded.
Perfect.
Yeah, you'll find everything there. Okay, guys, so you have your last chance to ask question for tonight, for today. So Sarah says, thanks very much. Enjoyed listening. Yeah,
Thank you.
Ravital, do you have any more questions?
It's not a question. I just want to say that I did the solid food vacation with Noah last year, and it was a lot of information, a lot of inspiration. So I recommend it. It was, yeah, it was a very supporting and a lot of information. So I just wanted to say.
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
Ravita.
great testimony. Great testimony. Yeah. Okay, Noah, so I think we are going to wrap it up. If you have any more details or anything like that, or any more explanations in videos, any more interesting videos, you're always welcome to post them in the group with some recommendation. And yeah, so, and then we'll put, as I said, all the contact details below this video so people can contact you and sign up for your program. Yeah, so I'll say you here. Thank you so much. It was
Thank
really
you.
inspiring. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and happy birthday, Noah.
Thank you.
In advance. Just flourish, prosper, shine, you know, all the best wishes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Mhm.
Arik, for creating the space and for inviting me again. And thank you for everyone that was here live and tuning into this later as well.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.